Nothing in life can prepare us for the death of a loved one, whether death results from a sudden accident or a sustained illness. It always catches us off guard. Death is so deeply personal and stunningly final that we can never be emotionally prepared for its arrival. With every death there is a gaping loss, and with every loss there will be grief. Grief, I've learnt, doesn't come and go in an orderly, confined time frame of a linear line. There are, however, some well-documented and recognised stages of grief. We have denial and shock, intense concern and rumination, despair, depression, and then finally a reorganisation and an acceptance with healing. A linear line suggests a straight pathway moving from one stage to another and then arriving at a destination. But in reality, I think it feels more like a series of concentric circles where you go round and round, feeling like perhaps you're getting nowhere or even slipping backwards. In my work with bereavement, I found the river of life analogy really resonated with me and with other people. So here we are, we're all travelling on our own journey on the river of life. And often, most times, we can just float down the river pleasantly, enjoying the bubbling parts of life, of joy, and the water is calm. But sometimes we can get stuck in a tributary or hit minor rocks, experiencing strong currents that will pull us around off course. But then there's the big waterfall moments. Maybe we see it coming and maybe we don't. The waterfall can plummet us down and sucks us under the water, creating confusion, fear, anxiety, a lack of control, and feeling like you're drowning, falling apart, or going crazy. At the same time, hitting rocks of different emotions, causing pain and physical symptoms. Eventually, you may come up for air from that waterfall, only to be pulled again under, and then the currents will propel you out as you work with the water, and you can be washed up in a state of disorientation. The journey of mourning and the reality of absence takes a long time, but even then, just when we think the pains of anguish have stolen their last breath, another wave sweeps in and we are forced to revisit the memories, the pain and the fear. But loss is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new story. Often our greatest purpose will emerge out of the pain. Loss carves change in us, and there's always a light in the dark and hope to hold on to. Like me, you may be trying to resist the demands of grieving. We long to avoid feeling the fierce pain of this necessary holy pilgrimage. We can fight against the currents. We can be terrified of being overwhelmed, of being discovered, of becoming lost in our brokenness. And I can remember that fear well. Fear that if I ever did dare to connect with the pain, that I'd be so overwhelmed that I would never recover. Culture tells us to move past this process quickly. We live in a very driven, drive-through, get it today or tomorrow mentality. However, there's no shortcuts to healthy grieving, no drive-through, no healing outlets. Culture speaks in a language that implies that grief is some kind of illness or examination or task. And people say very well-meaning things like, "Are you feeling better? Are you doing okay?" Or, "Soon you can move on." Or, "Your mum wouldn't want you to be sad." Or, "Time heals." I often shouted silently, "Don't tell me to move on." That is in effect all that other people really want us to do. But it's only possible when we can courageously face the pain and trauma and work through it. Culture wants us to take a few weeks, perhaps months to grieve, but don't stay there too long. But we know that early grief is 2 years. Grieving can make those around us feel very uncomfortable. Friends sometimes don't know what to do with our pain. Our loved ones struggle to find adequate words to comfort our aching wounds, and yet grief as a painful season is necessary as part of our healing. To avoid grief is to run from the very thing that can heal us. Bereavement is what happens to you. Grief is what you feel, and mourning is what you do. Grieving is the process God uses to bring us to a place of wholeness again. It is a necessary part of our journey to healing. It is not shameful or something that should be hidden like some guilty secret. Grieving can be the most lonely, difficult time for people. I understand. I encourage you to be gentle with yourself. Give yourself time and space. Be honest with your emotions and communicate with others what you need and what helps, which may change from day to day or even moment to moment. But be real and be raw. And you are not alone, and there is hope. So from my heart to yours, hold on and know that you are loved.